What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, we break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and just a couple of tickers out there, and break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for, and what's going on with these earnings coming out, and some very important levels to watch for during the pre-market and during the market open for today. But before I do anything like this, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. It ends in just about 8 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so looking at Tesla, how are things looking so far? The market is gapping up as I predicted from yesterday, and so far the market's holding up quite decently. But the question is, will the market do what it did on Friday? Will the market end up getting some kind of sell-off as time goes on? It seems very probable, in my opinion, that this can happen later on today, if not by the later days of this week. But I will answer this question in more detail in just a couple of minutes. Let's first talk about the market, some important things to know. We have Bowman and Bostic from the Fed giving some speeches right now. And besides that, I'm not really seeing anything too big in our data releases for today. But one thing you need to notice that oil is surging in price right now, and a lot of that has to do with like global conflicts right now, and many of the exporters, and there are also some crude oil cuts that have been happening to production in Saudi Arabia and Russia. So it's worth noting, supply is once again becoming a little bit shorter than before, which is leading prices to go up, and also global conflicts are playing a role in that simultaneously. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, they ended up announcing that they have a massive stack of cash right now. It grew to about $147 billion by the end of the second quarter. That's up from $130 billion from before. So this once again could be a sign of uncertainty in the markets as the markets are due for a correction. And as the market drops, Berkshire Hathaway could make big changes to their balance sheets by reinvesting a lot of money. So this could be what they're waiting for. This is one possibility. There could be other factors as well, of course, but I just wanted to note that. Don't forget that we have some big earnings coming out for this week, such as Walt Disney later on. That's going to be very fun to witness. Now we'll talk about a couple of earnings in just a minute. And futures were quite green yesterday. We saw the market hold up quite decently. That does not guarantee anything about today so far, but there is a rebound that is being attempted right now. And this is what I predicted from yesterday for the morning, that the market would gap up and try to hold up in the very start. But things could change intraday, right, depending on the data and how we respond to different pieces of price action, and also how the market responds to support and resistance and supply and demand zones. But going forward, don't forget that we have Palantir, Lucid, Chegg, and just a couple of others announcing earnings after the market closes for today. And then we have AMC for tomorrow. And then Walt Disney is going to be on Wednesday after the market closes. Those are some of the big ones to watch for, especially for retail. Now, looking at the charts, let's break down some important stuff. Well, the thing about Tesla that you have to remember is that Tesla is, or it could be looked at in many different ways. You could look at price actions, support and resistance levels, but you could also look at this channel right here on Tesla. Tesla's been stuck in this channel for quite a while, for the last 7 or 8 days, going back and forth and back and forth. Now, it is gapping up, and it looks like it is set for a potential drop. So you're going to be watching these as your support and resistance levels on the bigger trends. All right. So right now, okay, if Tesla were to dump, we have this major support around this 247 area at the bottom of here. And then major resistance, if it does try to pop really hard, is going to be around this 262 area as of right now. So you're going to be watching this channel just to be safe, and it's very important to have this on maybe one of your separate charts, just to know which way Tesla could go and where Tesla could try to rebound or not. But for now, this is what Tesla's respecting. But if you look at the more specific scalping time frames, the smaller ones, this is what I'm seeing for the chart. So Tesla has a tendency of popping in the morning. It tends to see a big surge in volatility, lots of volume as soon as we start off. So there's a chance this is going to pop to about 255.98, maybe a little bit higher. It could try to go closer to 257 to 257.74, all the way up here. I'm going to be expecting a little pop in the morning. Then it may slow down as time goes on. And then as it slows down, you're going to be watching our support at 254 around there. If that breaks, if we break below the support right here, this is holding us up during the pre-market, this 254.25 area, I expect this thing to drop all the way down to about 253.65 to fill this gap, and it could go even lower to about 252.5 because that's where the next like critical support is going to be. So make sure you watch 253 and then 252.5 as our supports, because there's a good chance, in my opinion, Tesla gets a pop and drop today just based off technical analysis. But don't forget, you want to watch our resistance levels. You want to watch our support levels just to be safe. Now, there's some demand right over here between 252.5 to 253. We're going to be watching that as critical support for now. If we end up breaking below 252.5, this thing is going to come tanking down to about 250. So please be well aware of that. This is what Tesla's looking like. It looks very probable it's going to pop and then drop as time goes on. But just to be safe, watch your levels as confirmation, because with Tesla, you never know what news is going to come out. It's been heavily dictated by the news. That's why this thing has been going back and forth like crazy. If you look at this chart, it's just going back and forth. It's just insane. So the news is going to be very telling. Wait a little bit after the market opens to see what news comes out. But based off technical analysis, this looks very probable that this thing will come down to fill this gap in a pop and drop motion. That seems very, very probable. Same thing with SPY. I mean, SPY right now is trying to pump in the pre-market, testing 448.69 at the time I'm recording this. I'm going to be watching for a pump and a retest of 449.08, which is the high during the pre-market. If it breaks, 449.5 has some resistance, but 450 is going to be the critical resistance to watch for. Now, those are going to be some like levels to watch for some volatility around. If this thing gets a rejection either off like 450 or 449, watch this thing come all the way back down to retest 448. We have some support there at the 20 EMA. Below that, we have 447.5. If that ends up breaking, this thing is going to come all the way down to the 446s. Again, this low right over here, 446.6. If we break below 447.5, so watch that as our critical support of the day. All right, I hope that's as clear as possible. What do I think is more probable? This thing is likely going to pop in the morning, make an attempt to test some of these resistance levels. We will see if the market try to hold these levels. And if we get a big rejection, you're going to be watching our supports. And there's a good chance it may come down to fill this gap if we do end up breaking down. My gut tells me it's going to be a pop and then a drop for today, just based off technical analysis alone. But just to be safe, don't simply count on that prediction, because it's more important to just look at intraday price action, look at how support and resistance holds, and watch your levels very carefully just for safety. I think that's what's more probable. I want everyone to be very careful. Now, another reason why the pop and drop is more like likely is because the daily charts on SPY and weekly look relatively weak. Let me just hide these drawings. So the daily candlestick is looking relatively weak right now, so there could be some bearish momentum. The weekly is also looking relatively weak, as I showed you guys yesterday. So there's a good chance that this pop may be led with or followed by a drop later on. And I believe there will be a drop coming. It's just that it's a little hard to tell the exact timing of it, whether it's going to be today or if not by the later days of the week because of CPI. But like I said before, on the smaller time frames, it's very probable that we get a pop and drop for today. Anyways, going into the like Apple, for example, same thing. This thing is popping, hitting about 182. But on the 30 minutes time frame, we have this gap all the way down to 182 flat. So this thing may pop to about 182.8. Reject off that and probably fill this gap, so the market may pop and drop just like what Apple is suggesting. And I'm expecting this to be kind of range bound for the majority of the day. If 182 breaks on Apple, I'm going to be watching 180. If that ends up breaking, that could slow the market down. The triple Q is looking very similar. Got a nice pop to about 374.1. I think it's going to get a little closer to like 374.6, if not 375. Then reject off that, and we have this unfilled gap all the way down to 372 that could get filled, and it could drop even lower if that fails us, because 370 to 368 all become possibilities. So watch for a potential pop and drop in the QQQ as very probable, but watch support and resistance just to be safe. Same thing with Nvda. Nvda is currently trying to hold around 451, around this zone. Watch our 30 minutes 200 EMA around 452.8. It may reject very close to this, and if it does end up dropping, if it breaks below 448, I would be anticipating this thing to come down to the 445s to fill this gap down here. So watch support carefully. I do believe there's a good chance it's going to pop and try to hold up for the very start of the day, but it could cool off a little bit later. It's very volatile, so just be very careful with this stock. All right. And finally, that's just based off like technical analysis. Let me just mention that the dollar is still holding 102 as support. If it continues to hold that, respecting this uptrend, this could be a bearish signal for the markets. We also have this imbalance all the way up here, like around this 102.5 zone. So, this thing is respecting an uptrend. This is a bearish signal for the markets as of right now. We will see if the dollar ends up breaking below 102 or not. But I just want to note that right now, this is, going to slow the market down a bit. The 10-year treasury yield as well, it's up about 0.39%, another bearish signal for now, but we will see if this thing can bounce off support or not, right? Just for safety. For Meta, we're watching this thing basically test resistance. If it manages to break above 313, I'm going to be watching like 315 or so to be tested. There's 314.09, then we have like 316 above that. Sorry about that, guys. And then if it breaks down below the support right over here, this 312 area, it's going to come down to fill the gap at like 310 becomes a real possibility. 309, 307, those become very possible. I think it's very probable it's going to pop then drop. That seems more probable for now, but just to be safe, watch the price action to confirm it. All right, guys, so that was a lot. Hopefully this was very helpful for a lot of you. Watch your technical levels very carefully. Remain calm, cool, and collected during a day like this, and do not make decisions based off speculation and guesses. Let the price action tell you which way the market's going to go. Let's see if Tesla gets a rejection or not. Let's see if Tesla pops in the morning or not. And let's see what happens and how it responds to supply and demand zones and the support and resistance levels. That's the most simple way I could tell you. Watch them very carefully and do what you have to do. It's going to be a very eventful and fun day. We also are going to have a very fun end of the week as we have CPI and a couple of things coming out. So it's going to be very fun. So please have fun, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Watch your levels very carefully and do what you have to do. Thank you all for listening. Tesla on the market to the moon as the long term is still very bright. And peace out.